Hello everyone, my name is Godfrey Devaputra, serving Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore in the capacity of Associate Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. This is in continuation to the series of lectures that we have been showcasing to you to make an attempt to help you learn the subject called as Operations Management. We are still dealing with the module number 1, which is the introductory part. The second half of the module number 1 speaks about the operations decision making. Decision making is one of the most crucial aspect of operations management. The reason being, thousands of decisions are made every day, be it small or big in terms of magnitude, but regardless of whether every decision makes or breaks an organization, every decision will have its own impact on the manner in which the organization progresses. Every decision does not really have the potential of breaking or making a company, but nevertheless they contribute in arriving at possible alternatives. So, decision making per se is one of the most crucial aspect that one needs to have enough knowledge, expertise in that particular area, and experience to make a appropriate decision. So, the management gurus look at the operations decision making as a science, which is fundamentally characterized by first, most importantly, organized principle of knowledge. The second one is use of empirical data. The other one is systematic analysis of data and repeatable results. Now, to elaborate on these characteristics, in order to be in a position of making a wise decision for an organization, first, most importantly, the management gurus, they fundamentally say that a person who is in the position of making a decision, he needs to have enough knowledge. He is supposed to have appropriate education, scientific knowledge, expertise, and most importantly, experience in that chosen domain to make appropriate decision. The scientific decision making rests upon looking for what kind of information you are seeking in order to make a decision. In order to know what information you are seeking, you are supposed to have knowledge, and this knowledge in terms of various amount of data that needs to be organized principally. Now, once that is done, to analyze the data in order to make a decision, we are supposed to use certain empirical data, that is data in terms of objective and subjective information that may be available. Now, this is very crucial because the manner in which eventually the decisions play a role in contributing to the progress of the organization depends upon the use of the empirical data. As well, the use of empirical data fundamentally helps us whether they are repeatable or not. Now, when you have enough data that is already organized, when the data is available, we need to analyze as to what you are looking for. So, analysis of data has to be systematically done. These days, use of computers has helped us in putting the data in the computer and using number of computation methodologies to make the analysis and draw inferences. And when we do all of these things, decision making revolves around how repeatable the results are. Okay, so management as a science is characterized by these 4 parameters. Now, when we speak about decision as a whole, subject to the complex analysis, the decision making involves judgment. Judgment involves the incorporation of basic knowledge, experience, and common sense. Now, the appropriateness of a given analysis depends upon 3 important parameters. the significant or long lasting decisions, the time availability and the cost of analysis, and the degree of complexity of the decision. Now, most of the times, the long lasting decisions such as plant location, product type, the kind of services that you want to facilitate in an organization, or the personnel that is to be recruited into the organization, all these things are significant or long lasting decision. To give you examples, location of a plant, for example, the Tata Nano manufacturing unit that is right now in Odisha, it was earlier planned that it was supposed to be located in somewhere around Dharwad, but because of n number of parameters that did not fall into place, the decision was taken, and because of which the decision that the Tata company took in terms of relocating the manufacturing unit of Tata Nano cars to Odisha meant that Karnataka as a state lost huge opportunity of hosting a company and creating a lot of employment. So, first most important aspect that needs to be looked upon when we are speaking about characteristics of decision is how significant a decision is. Second most important characteristics is what is the time available in order to make a decision and implement it and thereafter see the results. So, several of the times the operations management decisions ranges from day-to-day decisions to a very lengthy long decisions, long standing decisions. Day-to-day decisions such as routine activities, product shifts, the manufacturing shifts, and all the routine work that falls into place in an organization. Whereas you don't have to wait for a very long period of time to see the results of the decision that you make on a daily basis, but whereas to see the results of a long lasting decision such as plant location, product type, etc., you need to wait for a certain number of time. So therefore, the second most important aspect that needs to be considered while speaking about characteristics of decision is the time availability of making a decision and seeing the results. As well, the second most important aspect here is the cost of analysis. Analysis costs certain amount of money as well as time. Time, I have already spoken about time. The cost aspect when we are speaking about analysis range starts from knowing what we need to find out, then collecting the data, then organizing the data, then computing the data, then doing the further analysis. All of these things cost certain amount of resources in terms of money. So therefore, time availability and cost of analysis are one of the most important aspects that needs to be considered while speaking about characteristics of decision. Third most important aspect is the degree of complexity of the decision. Several of the cases, a decision taken on a particular aspect will have its implication on other aspects as well. So, to know the dynamic behavior of a particular decision on other aspects within the system needs to be taken due care while we are discussing about characteristics of decision. Characteristics of decisions encompasses this broad area. In one of the ends, you have all the information that is necessary in order to take a decision. So therefore, when we have all the data, we call that particular scenario as completely certain area. The other end, we have no data whatsoever. Most of the times this happens in R&D and all those kind of applications. When we have no data, we are dealing with absolutely uncertain scenario. So therefore, here the decision spectrum ranges from all data to no data. When you have all data, you are basically relying upon objective information which is not biased by personal views. So the other end, when we have no data, you have to ask for people's opinion in terms of the questionnaire wherein we are trying to find some sort of a data, some sort of a basis for making a decision, wherein people's opinion and people's experience and people's intuitiveness all comes into picture when we are speaking about uncertain situations. When I am speaking about objective information, here in several of the cases what happens is we deal with samples, that is trying to collect the information. Like for example, if I am trying to buy a good quality rice, when we go to a conventional grocery shop, we basically check the sample, you do not check the whole of the container full of rice that is available. So you are likely to check a sample of it. So sampling is one of the mathematical techniques wherein we try to judge the relevance of the population by checking only a little bit of a sample. So this sample size may vary from large sample to small sample when we are trying to arrive at something we call as objective information, wherein in objective information deals with all data. We have all data available and we are now trying to pick up the data and analyze the data by using large samples or small samples in order to make a certain decision. So this is the characteristic of decisions. To highlight the importance of characteristic of decision, it basically depends upon significance or long lasting decisions. Second one is time availability and cost of analysis. The third one is degree of complexities of a decision. So therefore, this is the spectrum of a range of scenarios that may arise while trying to make a decision. Now, whenever we say that decision making is to be looked into, so fundamentally we need to have a framework for anything in order to make an appropriate decision. So this is equally good when we are speaking about making a design of a component. This is also equally good when we are trying to deal with something called as project work for a semester, or any kind of decision that you come across during the course of study, as well when you go beyond the college and venture into your career. This framework for decision making holds good. We have been using this particular framework without our knowledge in our day-to-day life. Say for example, you want to go for a movie, this is the framework that we basically use. You want to go and you want to go shopping, this is the framework that is used. Regardless of what scenario that we speak about, in our daily lives also, we have actually come across this framework for our decision making. Now, we need to understand how exactly in the technical terms this framework is to be understood, so that we can therefore try to implement all of this particular framework in the otherwise unorganized manner. But by using the framework, we will be able to make a decision or arrive at a decision in a suitably organized manner. First most important step that arrives in the framework for decision making is definition of a problem. It may sound vague at this point of time, since this is a 6th semester course. When perhaps you start weaving this particular thing from the project work that is due to happen in the 7th and 8th semester, you will get to know that this is one of the most important aspects. Definition of problem identifies relevant variables and the cause of the problem. So most of the times when you look at a product or a service or some process which is happening, and if you identify that there is something going wrong, you try to do some analysis in order to identify a problem. So you may decide to conduct root cause analysis or any other kind of analysis just to know what is the cause of the problem. So when you try to understand what is the cause of the problem, you basically arrive at variables. So when you have variables, you start asking questions. What if this variable was not as it is? What if the variables were more? What if the variables were less? So you start asking questions as if what would have happened if, what if. So when you start asking questions, you are basically bring a whole spectrum of data and trying to coin a simple statement, which is now the focused area of attention where you want to arrive at a decision. This particular process of trying to look at the whole aspects whatever that is there in the system, and by using questionnaires, root cause analysis, and all different kinds of analysis, you try to arrive or to narrow down to the problematic area, that is the cause of the problem, is called as defining of the problem. And this particular first step of framework of decision making is of vital importance in the whole of the decision making process. Once you have done the definition of a problem, and if you find it to be right, then the decision criteria needs to be set up. Establishing the decision criteria is simply which reflects the goals and purpose of the whole effort that you are trying to put in. Earlier in a business organization, this decision criteria was very simple. So when I am speaking about business, you want to make profit or you want to reduce the cost if it is a service organization. Now the organizations have multiple purposes such as employee welfare, high productivity, stability, market share, growth, industrial leadership, and social objectives. Earlier it used to be only profit or maximizing of the profit or reduction of the cost, which is now influenced by all of these aspects: employee welfare, high productivity, stability, market share, growth, industrial leadership, and other social objectives. So when you are trying to establish a prime criteria of decision making with respect to the variables that you have defined in the definition of the problem, now there are so many other aspects such as what I have mentioned, which is now contributing towards establishing the decision criteria. Decision criteria is eventually the goal or the purpose that we are trying to reach or achieve. Next most important step in the framework of decision making is formulation of a model. Now, model, to help you understand what is the meaning of a model, model is simply a toy car which we give gift to a kid and say it is not a toy, it is an actual. Say for example, if I offer a toy bus to a kid, small little kid, I'm not going to say that it is a toy. I'm going to say it is a bus. So in the imaginary picture of the kid, now that toy bus is the actual bus. So this is only a representation of a model. Y is equal to a plus bx represents a line. Ax square plus bx plus c represents a quadratic equation, represents a line. So mathematical equation representing a line. Okay. Your CGPA marks representing your performance throughout the whole of the semesters. So all of these things, or when you conduct some experiments in fluid machinery lab, wherein you draw a graph. Now graph represents the actual performance of that particular machinery. So all of these representation methods that we basically use are called as models. Now most of the times, choosing an appropriate model by using physical model, mathematical model, representative models, there are varieties of models that is available, and to choose one amongst them to fit into the problem under discussion is of vital importance. So most of the times mathematical and statistical models are most useful in trying to fit in the variables to make a decision. So formulation of a model after establishing the criteria is a key in trying to arrive at the solution which is feasible, and therefore if you use a mathematical model, the advantage is that the analysis becomes relatively easier. Next most important thing that we need to, next important step that we have in the framework of decision making is generating of alternatives. Generating of alternatives is the questions for questions such as what if the variables are changed, what if the domain or the range of that particular variable is changed, what if the direction of that variable is changed, what if those variables are played with. So when we have variables and if we start working on varying the variables themselves, or what happens when we vary those variables in a defined range, what results that we get is what is called as generating of alternatives. So that means to say a particular decision to arrive at a particular decision, you have a number of decisions. It is simply generating alternatives, is simply laying off a number of decisions to take it into the evaluation of alternatives. So when you have a number of decisions that you can decide from, now you need to do something which is called as evaluation of alternatives. Evaluation of alternatives such as feasibility analysis, such as break-even analysis, such as heuristic analysis, all these different kinds of analysis comes into picture here, wherein we are trying to analyze what among the available decision, what is the best possible decision. So that is what is called as evaluation of alternatives. Once you have done the evaluation of alternatives, you now know that a particular decision is the best possible with the available constraints, with the available condition. You are supposed to do something which is called as implementation, which is the final step in framework of decision making. So you try to implement the decision, and subsequent to that, monitoring of what is happening in actual case when we have actually deployed the decision. What happens, that needs to be monitored, and if necessary any corrective action that needs to happen in the actual implementation, that needs to be done. Okay, so far I've tried to give you information regarding the framework of decision making. Now the methods that is available in order to methods, mathematical models, and the concepts that is available in order to make decisions are called as are put under decision methodology, wherein again complete certainty, risk and uncertainty, extreme uncertainty are the three cases that is likely to be the kind of scenario when we are trying to make a decision in an organization. So complete certainty deals with the scenario wherein you have all possible information. Risk and uncertainty, most likely that this is the kind of scenario that is likely to arrive when you are trying to make a decision within an organization. So wherein you have some information, and extreme uncertainty wherein you have absolutely no information. Just to give you some example regarding extreme uncertainty, when for example if film producer decides, or he is trying to make a decision regarding when his film is supposed to be released, he is absolutely uncertain regarding what other movies are likely to be released during that particular period, which is going to have impact on the kind of business that particular movie is going to make. So that is the kind of information, that is the kind of scenario wherein you have absolutely no information regarding how the competition is likely to pan out. So therefore you don't have any information, so you are trying to make a guess. So when you are absolutely certain, that means to say when you have all possible information which is necessary to make a decision, you have algebraic methods and you have mathematical programming methods. Algebraic methods is fundamentally you have something which is called as break-even analysis, and you have benefit cost analysis. We are going to deal with this break-even analysis and benefit cost analysis in the subsequent sessions. You also have something called as mathematical programming, wherein you have linear programming, non-linear programming, integer programming, dynamic programming, and goal programming. Most of these concepts we basically study as per our syllabus of the mechanical engineering degree in the 8th semester when we are dealing with operational research. To elaborate on the break-even analysis, this is the kind of analysis that is used when you are trying to make long-lasting decisions. So for instance, when you are trying to make a decision regarding where exactly to open up a shop, when you have a number of alternatives, so when you put in all the information that is available in a mathematical format, you try to analyze which location is likely to give you the input money back. That means to say when the investment that you have actually put up into a business enterprise, when it is likely to come back, when it starts making profit. So therefore break-even analysis is used most of the times in making long-lasting decisions. Subsequently, benefit cost analysis is also similar to that, wherein we try to analyze what kind of benefits we are likely to get for what kind of cost. So this is also applicable for all those scenarios when we make decisions regarding what kind of movie that we want to go, what kind of snacks that we want to eat in a particular hotel. All these things can be analyzed by using benefit cost analysis. What is the benefit that you are likely to get for the cost that you pay? When dealing with the second case, that is wherein you have risk and uncertainty, wherein you have certain kind of information available, you don't have all the information, you have some information. You're going to use probabilistic techniques, objective and subjective. You can also use a mathematical technique called as estimation and testing of hypothesis, Bayesian statistics, decision theory, correlation and regression, analysis of variance, queuing theory, heuristic methods and network analysis, PERT and CPM. Most of these methods we deal with in operational research while studying a subject called as operational research. To simply elaborate on the nature of these methods, most of these methods have time estimates, cost estimates and the output estimates with respect to an input parameter. That means to say, most of these methods, they work in the form of functions relating dependent and independent variable. So how the dependent variable is likely to behave when the independent variable is changed or altered. So what is the optimal behavior of the dependent variable at what instance of the independent variable? So that is the kind of analysis that we basically do while we are dealing with these kind of methods, which deals with some information which falls under risk and uncertainty. The third case is the extreme uncertainty, wherein you have absolutely no information, like I said before. So the methods that we are going to use are game theory and flip coin. So both of these techniques are used when competitors are competing in the market without knowing what the other person is deciding upon. For example, like if two motorcycle companies are trying to decide when to launch a particular segment of vehicle. So the other person does not know when the first one is going to launch the vehicle. So therefore, nobody knows, the competitors who are competing in the market, they do not know what the other person is likely to make a decision, but still they are competing. So therefore, they are guessing that the other person may take this decision. So if he takes that particular decision, what is the best possible decision for me? Similarly, chalking out these kind of alternatives, that is, if he does that, what should I do? If he does that, what am I supposed to do? Like this, chalking out a number of parameters which is called as the decision alternatives, and putting all of them and arriving at the most likely decision that I can take by considering that the most likely decision the other person is going to take. Those kind of theories are called as game theories and flip points. So in all, in the concept of decision making, which is one of the most fundamental and most important aspect in organization, these are the three cases that arise, and these are the mathematical methods that we basically use in order to arrive at a decision.